Been working graveyard at the Archer Daniels Midland Elevator outside of Decatur, Illinois, for going on 3 years now. It's not glamorous work. Mostly monitoring conveyor belts, checking moisture levels on inbound corn and soy, and making sure nothing jams the legs or the buckets. The place runs 24/7 during harvest, but after midnight it's just me, the hum of the motors, and the occasional semi rumbling up the gravel drive. The silos themselves are the tall ones, 8 concrete giants, each 120 feet high, standing in a row like gray tombstones against the flat prairie sky. At night they block out half the stars. You get used to the way grain shifts in size inside them, like the whole structure is breathing slow. Old-timers call it the house settling. I call it background noise. About 6 months ago though, the noise changed. First time I noticed, it was around 2:37 a.m. on a Tuesday in late October. I was up on the catwalk between silo 4 and 5, doing my hourly temp check with the probe. Everything read normal, about 14.2% moisture, no hot spots. Then I heard it, a low, wet scraping sound coming from inside silo 6. Not the usual rustle of kernels sliding. This was deliberate. Like fingernails dragging across the inside of the concrete wall, slow and circling. I froze. The sound stopped the second I did. I told myself it was just a rat or maybe a loose chain in the sweep auger. But rats don't circle. And chains don't pause when you hold your breath. Next night, same time, same silo. Scraping again, this time higher up, maybe 30 feet above the inspection hatch. I shone my mag light through the little porthole. Nothing but black grain sloping away into darkness. The beam didn't reach the far wall. I stood there listening until my ears rang, then climbed down and pretended I hadn't heard a damn thing. Things got worse after the first freeze. By early December the temperature inside the elevator stayed just above freezing, but the grain temp held steady at 38 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's when the whispers started. Not words, at least not English ones. More like breathy, overlapping voices murmuring right at the edge of hearing, coming up through the aeration vents like someone was exhaling into the bottom of the silo. I'd shut the fans off to listen, and the sound would swell for a second, then drop away the moment I moved. I started keeping the radio on louder. Classic rock, anything to drown it. Didn't help much. Then came the footprints. January 14th, 3:12 a.m. I went to check the unload pit under silo 3 after the belt sensor tripped. There, in the fine dust that always settles on the concrete, were fresh prints. Bare feet. Small. Toes splayed wide like they'd been gripping something. They led from the center of the pit straight toward the wall, and stopped dead like whoever made them just vanished into the concrete. I took a picture with my phone. The flash made the dust glow white. When I looked again without the light, the prints were already fading like the grain dust was swallowing them back up. I didn't tell anyone. Not Larry, the day shift foreman. He'd laugh and call me a pussy. Not my girlfriend back in town. She already thinks the job's turning me weird. I just started carrying the claw hammer from my toolbox in my belt loop instead of leaving it on the bench. Last week was when it stopped pretending. I was up top again around 4 a.m. doing the rounds. Silo 7 had been empty since Thanksgiving, cleaned out, no grain, just air and echoes. I opened the hatch to shine the light down, routine check. Something looked back. Not eyes. Not exactly. Just a pale shape pressed against the inside wall about halfway down, humanoid but wrong, too long in the limbs, head tilted at an angle, necks don't bend. It was the color of wet cement, slick like it had been rolled in grain dust. For maybe 2 seconds it held still, staring up at my light. Then it dropped. Not fell, dropped like it let go of the wall and plummeted straight down without a sound. I slammed the hatch and backed away so fast I nearly went over the railing. The next night I called in sick. Told them I had the flu. Stayed home 2 days, drank too much, tried to convince myself I'd seen a trick of the light or mold or hypoxia or whatever bullshit excuse fits. But tonight I'm back. I have to be. Rent's due and they don't pay you for, I think there's a thing living in the silos. It's 1:58 a.m. right now. The facility's quiet except for the low drone of the legs running empty. I'm sitting in the control shack with all the monitors on, lights turned up bright. Every few minutes I glance at the camera feed for silo 7. Nothing yet. But I can hear it again, that wet scraping. Closer this time. Not inside one silo. Inside all of them. Like whatever it is has learned how to spread itself thin, pressing against every wall at once. The aeration fans just kicked on automatically. I didn't turn them on. And down in the pit camera, right at the edge of the frame, something pale is moving across the concrete. Slow. Circling. It's coming up. I don't know how much longer I can sit here pretending to watch gauges. If you're reading this, don't ever take the night shift at a place like this. Because the grain doesn't just store corn and soybeans. It stores waiting. And whatever's been waiting in these silos is done waiting. The scraping just stopped. It's quiet now. Too quiet. I think it's already inside the head house. I can smell wet dust. And something else. Something warm. Like breath. I'm going to lock the door. If anyone finds this post later, don't come looking for me. Stay out of the silos. Please.